there. First, I want to welcome everybody to Prattville. Glad to see everybody here. You know, to me, this is an exciting event. You know, bicentennial. On one hand, it's going to be fun, exciting. Also, there's a little bit of pressure on us too, because when it comes around to the next centennial, they're going to be looking back to see exactly what we did. So there's a lot of opportunities here. So I was mentioning a little bit earlier, you know, sometimes we take for granted some of our historical facts. And once we start talking about it, it really comes out. It means something very significant. So if it's something minor, throw it out there. I think it could be something very significant. But glad everybody's here. Hope this is the first of many meetings that will actually kick off this very significant program. That said, I'm going to turn it over to Senator Chambliss.
Well, thank you all for taking your time out of your busy schedules to be here. I appreciate that. You know, I was 7 years old when our country turned 200, and that was a memorable time for me. Even though I don't remember a lot about what was done, I remember that being a big deal. And that's what I see with our bicentennial coming up, both as a county and as a state. Hopefully to draw in the youth and help them to understand how important this is, to learn about our history, because obviously there are mistakes in our history, and we need to learn from them and not repeat them. So it's very, very important, and I think having lived through that bicentennial of our country has kind of put a little bit of a love for history in me that I didn't really think that I had. And as I've grown older, it's a lot more pronounced. So I appreciate all that you do, and I look forward to seeing what it is that we're going to do as a community to really celebrate our 200 years. So thank you all.
That's it. Turn it back over to our director, Ms. J. Lamar. Thank you.
Thank you so much, so much. Let me second the thanks of the mayor and the senator, and welcome you again and say thanks to them, because this would not be happening were it not for their efforts, and for Teresa Lee, who's back there, who has been our guide. I don't know if you know, but you're our guinea pigs. This is the first time we've done a public information session, so we are just, come on in. So we're just going to we're going to try this. We're going to sort of, as my daddy says, run it up the flagpole and see who salutes, and then you will give us really serious feedback about what we've missed, what else you need to know, what resources we can give you. And so we will learn from this, and then all the communities after this are going to benefit from it. So just so you know, there won't be a test exactly, but there will be a request for feedback from you. So what I'm going to do is give you kind of an overview of the bicentennial, and in so many ways what the senator and what the mayor have said are at the heart of what this bicentennial is about. It is about opportunity. It's about opportunity to do something that matters right now and in these next few years. It's also an opportunity to build something for the future. It's about youth, and it's about instilling a love of history in a place. And so we are going to do this not over just 1 year. We're going to do 3-year bicentennial. We're the only state in the nation to do a 3-year bicentennial. So Alabama is at the top of that list, and no bicentennial after this will ever not look at what we're doing. We've already had calls from Texas, in fact. They want to see what we're doing, and they think they're going to do better, but they won't. So the reason it's a 3-year bicentennial is because instead of starting in the year of statehood, we're going to start in our first territorial year, which was 1817. That's when Alabama became a territory. We're going to kick off our bicentennial on March 3rd, 2017 in Mobile. We will be down there. Mobile is our oldest city. It's already celebrated a tricentennial. So they think they're going to tell us a few things about how to do this sort of thing, and we're going to take advantage of all their experience and their great spirit down there and their great sense of history too. So March 3rd, 2017, that's the Friday after Mardi Gras. We hope we'll have a float in the Mardi Gras parade that's a bicentennial float, but that will be the place to be. Because Mobile is such an international city, it's a port city, and it's still a very vibrant and lively place. We hope to have the French ambassador there, and perhaps the Spanish ambassador, or people representing countries that are our sort of founding countries where descendants live today who came from those explorers and settlers and soldiers and people who came first to this territory. So March 3rd, 2017, that's Mobile. probably June in 2018, we're going to be in Birmingham. As my grandfather used to say, he had a mule older than Birmingham. It's not really part of the bicentennial period, but we're going to embrace it. It's also where there is so much happening in our banking industry, medicine, culture, cooking, all kinds of things. So in the spirit of that, the Alabama State Council on the Arts and the Alabama Folklife Alliance will be coming together with partners in Birmingham to do a long weekend on traditional culture and folk life in Alabama. And that means food and music and artists and traditional arts, performance. We're looking at the Muscle Shoals Sound. We're looking at the Quilters of Gee's Bend. Just all of the things that are about our culture and who we are as a people, and the things that we have created and the things that we are creating right now. You may be aware, and I'm not sure what's might be happening in Autauga County, but beer is this thing now, and we already have a bicentennial brew. It was debuted January before last, and it was named for St. Stephen's, our territorial capital. We have another one that debuted this January. That is it's the Badland Brothers Stout.
Yes.
Okay, that's based on a brewery, a historic brewery that was in Huntsville. So this reaches a crowd. These are the Craft Brewers Guild come together. They create these recipes based on historic recipes and named for historic breweries. And so they're making these, it'll be a collector's item as we go along, but that is a way to reach a demographic that might not really think they're interested in history. But as the beer brewers said, they had people in their taster's room who were tasting beer and saying, now this is named for the territorial capital, and that was in 18 what? He said, beer brewers talking Alabama history, middle of the night, bottling beer, mission accomplished. So, that's a way to reach different audiences and to do fun things too. So anyway, June in 2018, we'll be in Birmingham. And then between May and August in 2019, we're going to spend a few months in Huntsville. It happens to be the 200th anniversary of the Constitutional Convention, which met there and established us as a state. Constitution Hall Village still exists, and one of our legacy projects for the bicentennial will be to do some renovations and stabilization of that space. It also happens to be the 50th anniversary of the moon landing. So many things happened. Huntsville was really central to that, and so we'll have a lot of things to celebrate. There's something very fitting about looking both to the past and to the establishment of our state, as well as to the future and to the stars. And I think that, in a way, says so much about Alabama as a whole, but we'll be really focusing on that in 2019, in the summer of 2019. And then in December of 2019, and really throughout the fall, we'll be back in Montgomery to celebrate and commemorate. We'll wind up the bicentennial on December 14th, 2019. That is Alabama Day. We'll be celebrating those as we go along over the next 3 or 4 years too, but that will be the culmination of the bicentennial. And by then we will have birthday cake, fireworks, parades, music, whatever big party we can imagine. But as we go along, as we start thinking about what we can do over the course of these 3 years, the Bicentennial Commission is very committed to the idea that we need to create something that is meaningful to our communities. We'll have a lot of statewide opportunities. There'll be traveling exhibitions from the Alabama Humanities Foundation. The Alabama State Council on the Arts will play a large part and do some art projects. University of Alabama Press is creating a bicentennial bookshelf, which are books that need to be, if you are going to live during the bicentennial, these are things that you will want to have. They're histories, they're geographies, they're fiction, poetry, things by and about Alabama that tell us who we are. And we'll be using those books as the basis for a common book program that we hope to launch in January. Ed Bridges, who is the retired Director Emeritus of the Alabama Department of Archives and History, he was there for 30 years, and nobody knows Alabama and its artifacts and history as Ed does. He has written a book about Alabama history, and it's lavishly illustrated from, if you've been to the Museum of Alabama or Alabama Voices, it is just an amazing exhibit there in the archives. And so he's drawn from that with illustrations, maps, photographs, some things never before seen, and they will be in this book, and that's our first common book program. We think that if people around the state, and this will appeal to readers of all ages, probably from about high school all the way up through adult, but it will be an opportunity for people to read about Alabama and kind of be on the same page. We'll have a sense of where we started, what the geography of the land did to make us who we are, what people settled here, when they came, and then all the way up through the present. And then after that, we'll jump into other works of nonfiction about our environment, our culture, our people, biographies and autobiographies, as well as fiction and poetry. There's a brand new book of poetry, of persona poems coming out, written by Jeannie Thompson in the voice of Helen Keller. It's going to be a book that is going to be a splash on the national scene, but she has learned about Helen Keller and embodied her in these poems in a way that it's very accessible but very inspiring too. Those are the kind of people that our children need to know about and that we need to remember. They are who we are too, and can guide us and be role models and show us the way as we go forward. We have, because there's a 3-year period, we don't want people to think that they're not going to live through the bicentennial. It's never going to be over. So we're trying to brand each of the years. So there's something special about each one. So the first year is the year of discovering our places. We hope that that's 2017, and that again will kick off in January. And that's about trying to get people out to discover our places, not just the historic places, although that will play a very important part, our National Register places and historic houses and battle parks, Horseshoe Bend and Moundville and all that. It's also about discovering our real place, our parks and state parks and national parks, our waterfalls, the places where you can find the Cahaba lily, places where you can go and see things that just do not exist anywhere else in the world. And we are really blessed to have an incredible diversity of plants and animal life and geography here in the state. So we think people should have a chance to get out and really see that and experience it. At the same time, they should be learning about their own places. One of our projects will be to work, we have an entire committee that's committed to working on education projects. So we hope that this is something that we can work with schools to do to encourage them to learn about their state. And just sort of to back up a little bit and tell you about this, because I know there are some educators here in the room. We're working with the State Department of Education and the Alabama Department of Archives and